Even though I left the hospital with what seemed to be a normal working brain, I knew something wasn't quite right. Due to the lack of oxygen flow to my brain during my SCAs, I couldn't stay focused and even found myself suffering from clinical depression. It wouldn't be until much later, after being diagnosed by Jeff Ricks, MD, one of the world's foremost experts on mass trauma management, that I would discover I had battled what is known medically as mild brain trauma. But at that moment, I just knew that the way my brain was not working for me. Up until my incident, I had been working as a personal trainer for 10 years and had been working extensively with NFL and NBA athletes in their off-seasons. During that time, I trained both myself and my clients using very strict routines, carefully planned workouts designed to prevent plateaus by gradually changing the intensity, specificity, and volume over the course of 12 to 20 weeks. The diets I relied on were even more complicated, involving 3 separate 12 to 20-week phases. I was a measurer, a calorie counter, and focused on every single nutrient level in every single food. I even wore a watch and set alarms to remind myself to eat at exact times, just to try to capitalize on my body's hormonal functions around whatever stimulus I was getting by eating a particular food. If all that sounds confusing, trust me, it was. In fact, it was nauseating. But after my SCAs, I was suddenly someone who had to monitor his stress, so it was unhealthy for me to follow complex and frustrating programs anymore. I was also still someone who couldn't remember what he had just done minutes before. Sometimes my watch would go off and I wouldn't know what meal I was on. Sometimes I wouldn't even know what day it was. It was unbearable and undoable, which was why I decided to stop everything I was trying to do and simplify it. I had to work around my brain to keep my body from falling apart. Instead of trying to focus on exercise and diet programs lasting 12 to 20 weeks, I started focusing on one meal at a time, one snack at a time, one workout at a time. And for each time I ate healthy or finished a workout, I gave myself a grade of 100%. At the end of the day, I would sit down and go over everything I had done, even if I didn't remember doing half of what was on my list. If I managed to do everything and I scored 100% on every meal, snack, and workout, I considered myself successful. And the next day, I would do it again, and the day after that. At the end of the week, I added up my total score to see how successful I had been for 5 days straight. After 5 consecutive blocks of 5 days, I added up my score again, just to have a sense of the past month. Eventually, as my short-term memory slowly returned and my depression lifted, within months, I was a changed man, both physically and mentally. I was imminently aware that something felt better about the program compared with methods I had used in the past. Beyond getting back into incredible shape, the first thing I noticed was how calm I became. I was no longer as worried about how my meals were balanced, and I stopped weighing and measuring everything. Instead, I took an eyeball approach with all my servings. I knew I was still eating healthy, but I took a very general preventive health approach to my diet, instead of the very strict hardline approach I had been used to following. I also noticed that I was no longer that person who was hard to go out to eat with, so my friends no longer had to kill themselves trying to find restaurants that could accommodate my crazy dietary habits. Suddenly, I could eat anywhere. I accepted that every meal wouldn't be perfect, but so long as I ate certain foods, everything would be all right. I returned to work as a top trainer 3 months after my incident and started using 25 days with clients immediately. But to be honest, I didn't start them on it because of the amazing results I had seen in myself. I did it because it was the only way I could keep track of their programs. I had them carry journals and grade themselves at every meal, snack, and day I wasn't training them, so I always knew exactly what to do and where they had slipped along the way. It made my training job easier and made their outcomes more enjoyable for them by streamlining my approach to diet and exercise into a 25-day block of time. By having them focus on what really mattered to get results and asking them to grade themselves each day, it left my clients feeling equally relaxed and as if they were kicking life in the ass each and every day. And then an interesting thing happened. Before my SCAs, I had always had a great success rate with all my clients in getting them to get onto the difficult-to-manage nutrition programs I was suggesting. But even though I had a really high success rate, it wasn't maintainable practically in a real-world situation. Suddenly, my clients weren't just hitting their fitness and weight loss goals faster and more often. They were making positive changes within others.